In this video, we're going to be going through a few examples of how to solve an equation with a variable on both sides, and then we're going to check our solutions. So let's take a look at letter A. Here we have negative 2x equals 3x plus 10. Notice that we have variables on both sides. So what we're going to do is we want to know which number is smaller. Really, we're just looking at the absolute value of each of the numbers. So the absolute value of negative 2 is 2, the absolute value of 3 is 3, and we see that negative 2 is what's going to give us our lowest absolute value. So that tells us the 2 is what's going to do the moving. Okay, so we're going to add the 2x to both sides, and we add because right now our negative, or our x, our 2x is a negative, and adding is its inverse. So those will go away, and that gives us a 0 equals 5x plus 10. Now you could have subtracted the 3x and you would still get the same answer when you were all finished. It would just take you a different route, and that's totally fine. Let's finish solving this one. So we have 0 equals 5x plus 10, so we're going to subtract 10 from both sides, again because subtraction is the inverse of addition. And now we have negative 10, oops, let me try that again, negative 10 equals 5x. So now we need to separate the 5 from the x. So you need to ask yourselves, what is the 5 doing to the x? Right now it's multiplying, and the inverse of multiplying is division. So we're going to divide both sides by 5, and that's going to leave us with negative 2 equals x. Looks good. So now we just need to check it. So to check it, what we're going to do is we're going to replace our x's with that negative 2. So we'll go ahead and we'll plug those in. And basically we're saying, does the left side equal the right side? That's the whole thing. Do they in fact equal each other? So if we look at this, negative 2 times negative 2 is a positive 4, and 3 times negative 2 is a negative 6, and negative 6 plus 10 is a positive 4. So ask yourselves, does 4 equal 4? And that answer is yes. And so that tells us that x equals negative 2 is the solution. Let's move on to one that's a little bit more complex. Here in letter B, we have 1/2 times the quantity 6h minus 4 equals negative 5h plus 1. Well, before we look at those h's, we need to first distribute that 1/2. Half of 6 is 3, so we'll have 3h. Half of negative 4 is a negative 2, so we'll have 3h minus 2 equals negative 5h plus 1. Then we want to look at our h's and decide which one should we move over. Again, I like to take the absolute values and see which one is smaller and then move that one over. But that's not always what has to be done. So in this one, let's do it a different way. Let's go ahead and let's move the 5h because it's just the lowest one in general because it's negative, right? So we can add a 5h to both sides. That's going to cancel out that 5h because we used its inverse operation. And that's going to give us an 8h minus 2 equals 1. Then we'll add 2 to both sides to get rid of the 2. We have 8h equals 3. Then we'll divide both sides by h to separate the 8 from the h, because right now they're multiplying, so we want to divide, and that's going to leave us with h equals 3/8. So now we just need to check that and see if we're right, because gosh, I don't know. So let's move this over a little bit so we've got some room. So we're going to have 1/2 times 6 times h minus 4. Oops, that's not going to be enough room. Minus 4 equals negative 5 times 3/8 plus 1. So remember, we're going to replace our h's with this h equals 3/8. So we're going to plug in 3/8. And we want to know, does this side right here equal this side right here? Right? That's what we want to know. So this one is kind of complex to do in your head. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to pull up our calculator. You might not be able to see all of the buttons, but what's important is that you see the screen. So here we go. So we're going to plug in 1/2. Oops, let's try that again. There we go. 1/2 times the quantity, 6 times, and we need to put in our fraction of 3/8, so 3/8, close the parenthesis, and then minus 4. And we're going to hit enter, and we're going to get a value of -7/8. So let's write that down, -7/8. And now we want to plug in our other side. So we're going to go ahead, -5 times, we're going to put in our 3/8, and then remember it was a +1. So close the parenthesis and put +1, and we get a -7/8. Perfect. So then we're going to ask ourselves, do these equal each other? And the answer is yes. And so that tells us that h equals 3/8 is the correct answer. Let's do one more together. So letter C, we have -3/4 times 8n plus 12 equals 3n minus 3. So again, we need to distribute first. So we're going to distribute our -3/4, and that's going to give us a -6 and a -9. So we have -6n minus 9 equals, and we're going to distribute our 3 now, so we're going to get 3n minus 9. And I'm going to go ahead and we're going to move our 6n over. We're going to do it kind of like we did the last one. We'll get rid of those. And now we're going to have a -9 equals a 9n minus 9. So we'll add 9 to both sides. And we're going to get a 0 now. So 0 equals 9 times n. Then we divide both sides by 9. And 0 divided by anything is still 0. So we're going to get the 0 equals n. And now we just need to check it. So let's go ahead and let's fill in our piece. So go ahead and pause the video and let's plug in our 0 for n for our check. Alright, so remember we replace our n with our 0, and we want to know, does this side match that side over there? So go ahead and get out your calculators and let's see if those match. So push pause and come up with your values and then determine yes or no. Is 0 our solution, or did we make a mistake somewhere and do we need to go back and fix it? So when I plugged my values into the calculator, I got that -9 for my left side and a -9 for my right side. So the question is, do those equal each other? And the answer is yes. And so that tells us that our answer of n equals 0 is correct.